Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we are talking about Tropical Storm Nicholas, which has formed in the Gulf of Mexico and currently has maximum sustained winds of 40 miles per hour, minimum central pressure of 1,008 millibars, and is moving north at 2 miles per hour. This storm is expected to move north through the Gulf of Mexico, posing a rain threat mostly in Texas and Louisiana. So let's get into some of the details. Starting off here with our warnings and cone, you can see here that this storm is expected to stay a tropical storm through Tuesday after it makes landfall in Texas either Monday night or Tuesday morning, and then eventually it slows down considerably. It's only moving at 2 miles an hour now, expected to speed up and then slow down as it deforms into a tropical depression, which could leave plenty of flooding opportunity right in this area over here. Now, if we move on to our arrival time of winds with wind speed probabilities turned on, you can see that there is a 100% chance of tropical storm force winds as of now through Monday, right around midnight. Then we have a 70% chance of tropical storm force winds through Monday at 2 p.m., including areas of southeast Texas. So tropical storm force winds are on the table here. Now, the next big thing that's going to be probably the worst of this storm is the rainfall, as right now, right along the coastline of Texas, including Galveston and Houston area, we could see 10 to 15, even more possible rainfall overall. Lake Charles could see 6 to 10. Corpus Christi could see 4 to 6. Brownsville could see 2 to 4. So there's plenty of rain with this system, and that will lead to flash flooding. And the flash flooding potential with this storm is 20% as of now through the Houston area especially. So let's move on here to the satellite imagery, where you can see that this is a larger storm system, and the clouds and the outer bands of the clouds are already in Texas, while the center of the storm is still over the Gulf of Mexico. So based on the pure broad extent of this storm, that is why we have so much rain that could fall in some areas. Here's the current storm information. Let's start off with our global and hurricane models, showing that this storm is going to start to turn toward the northeast as it makes landfall in Texas. And once it gets past about 72 hours, things get completely wonky if it moves into mainland U.S. Does it take a turn back toward Texas? Does it take a turn to the north, the east? All over the place there. The GEFS ensemble does show this track right in through Texas and then a turn toward the north. And the GEPS kind of shows the same exact thing. Quickly over at the European ensemble, it shows almost the same exact thing, but with a sharper turn toward the north, right along the Texas and Louisiana border. So, intensity guidance. We can see here that most of the models do show this intensifying into a mid-grade tropical storm, and then once it makes landfall, it does weaken considerably quickly into a tropical depression and remains at that strength for the rest of its lifespan, as it would be over land. So finally, let's take a look at this on the HWRF hurricane model. So right here we see the storm, 1,007 millibars, and it's also very broad. Now, as it starts to move toward the coastline of Texas, it does tighten up. Those isobars here, these little lines, are getting closer. That means that the winds are increasing, as well as the storm is getting a little bit better organized. And you can see that there is a just shield of rainfall on that northern side. And as this storm stalls pretty close to the Gulf of Mexico, it's just going to keep drawing up moisture from the Gulf of Mexico as it continues to move to the northeast and eventually kind of stalls out over here So areas such as southeast Texas and most of Louisiana could see longer periods of heavy rainfall all at once. And you can see here the HWRF does have the storm stalling out, not really moving much for a little bit. You can see that, over here it's moving considerably fast, and then it just pauses right along the border of these two states, Texas and Louisiana, before completely falling apart. So even though this will be a shorter-lived storm, the impacts will definitely be felt. So let's take a look here at the wind speeds, and you can see that they do increase, getting closer to the Texas coastline into that mid-grade tropical storm range. And once it makes landfall, it does weaken significantly fast, as it does have that friction of being over land. So once this storm does make landfall, we should not have a huge wind threat. But up until that point, right around when it makes landfall, there is a partial wind threat with this storm. Now I'm going to go over here to the GFS, and let's actually take a look at this on a more broader scale. So let's go to the south central US and just take a look here at our total accumulated precipitation. And this shows a lot. So this maroon color here is 6 inches, and this yellowish color here starts at about 8 or 9 inches. So we could see even close to 10 to 12 inches of rain in some spots right around Houston. Remember, the last time that happened was Hurricane Harvey, and the rivers right around Houston got so much rainfall draining into them through the basin that it flooded over and caused a multi-day flooding threat, a river flooding threat, and an urban flooding threat. So definitely gotta watch this storm. If it shifts toward the east, maybe we see less impact with rain. If it shifts toward the west, then we could see a little bit more. Just depending on where this storm goes, depends on how much rain you're going to get. So at the moment, right now, Houston is in the main rainfall threat. If this shifts to the west, then it will be Corpus Christi. If it shifts even further to the west, it could be Brownsville. If it shifts to the east, it may be Lake Charles and New Orleans. So we just have to wait and see how the storm tracks. If it goes to the west, to the east, just a slight shift could change this storm dramatically. So I will be following this closely, and if you live in any of these areas, I suggest that you do as well. But that is all I have for today. If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like, subscribing, and hitting the bell. And I will see you guys next time.